sixth principle has to do with grains. How many of you struggle with grains, are on gluten-free, or, yeah, quite a few. The thing about grains is they have a lot of toxins in them, a lot of what we call anti-nutrients. They have enzyme inhibitors. Now, we just learned how important enzymes are. We don't want to eat things that block our enzymes. Phytic acid, which blocks mineral absorption. Tannins and lectins, which are very irritating. Complex starches and sugars, gluten and cellulose. Some of these things are impossible to digest, impossible for humans to digest. The proper preparation of these seed foods breaks down these toxins, neutralizes these toxins, and makes the nutrients in the grains more available to us. The herbivore who eats grains and grasses has a complex digestive system of anywhere from 2 to 4 chambers, 2 to 4 stomachs. And they're basically fermenting these foods. At least one of these chambers acts as a fermentation tank to break down the grains. The human stomach is a simple stomach, maybe different sizes, but we don't have a fermentation tank in our bodies. We have to do this before we eat the grains. So the proper preparation of seed foods imitates the factors in nature that neutralize these preservatives and allows the seed to sprout. All of these anti-nutrients are like a plastic coating on the seed that keep everything inside fresh. And we don't want to eat preservatives, even if they're natural preservatives. So we break down the preservatives by proper preparation, and then the grains are safe for us. So the 4 factors are moisture, warmth, slight acidity, and time. This is what seeds need to sprout. And this is the same thing we need for preparing our grains. This is a wonderful photograph of a Cherokee woman preparing the traditional cornbread, which was cooked. The maize was cooked and then wrapped in a corn husk and put aside for 2 weeks and allowed to ferment. And only then did they use that cornmeal for making tortillas or porridge or masa or whatever. It was fermented for 2 weeks first. Now this is how most of our grains are made today. This is called an extruder, and the slurry of grains is forced out of this tiny hole at high temperature, high pressure, and what comes out is a Cheerio or a cornflake or a shredded wheat or puffed grains. And this is how most of our grains are eaten today. Even the health food store, these processed cereals. There's not a lot of research on these cereals, except I know of some unpublished research. One was the famous cornflake study where the rats given the cornflakes died before the rats given the box that the cornflakes came in. And they didn't just fade away and die of starvation. They became agitated and ran around their cages and bit each other and died of convulsions. So what this extrusion process does to the proteins in the grain is similar to what pasteurization does to the proteins in the milk. It destroys them and renders them very toxic, neurotoxic. And most children in this country start their day with this stuff. No wonder they can't sit still in school. I call this a cruel breakfast, puffed grains, skim milk, right? And the orange juice. Now, would you rather I didn't tell you about the orange juice? So the way they make orange juice today is by squeezing the whole orange, and then they get the oil out, and they make citrus peel cake with the peels, and then they freeze the juice. But the thing about oranges is that they get the worst pesticides of any crop in this country. They are cholinesterase inhibitors. And the way they prepare this orange juice, they even put enzymes in to get everything out of the skin. And so all of that is coming into the juice. And there has been quite a good study, the Honolulu Heart Study, which also looked at Alzheimer's. And the number one correlation with Alzheimer's was drinking fruit juice. So it's because of these pesticides on the fruits, especially the citrus fruit. These are diabetes starter kits here. Put you on the blood sugar roller coaster. How do we get off the blood sugar roller coaster? We don't have sugar with our meals, and we eat plenty of fats, because fats modulate the release of sugar and starch into the bloodstream. So here's some good breakfast. We have some beautiful pastured eggs. I put extra yolks in the eggs, cooked them in butter, and these are some leftover potatoes, which I've grated and cooked in lard. Wonderful breakfast. Want a smoothie? We make smoothies with whole yogurt, egg yolks, fruit, and coconut oil. Or you can have fried eggs with some beautiful no nitrate bacon and fruit. And we put our fruit in the bacon pan. So we eat the pineapple and the apples and tomatoes cooked in the bacon grease. And as far as I know, this is the only diet that allows you to eat pineapple cooked in bacon grease. And your scrapple. Suppose you want grains for breakfast. Suppose you want cereal. We're going to make some oatmeal. We start with rolled oats. We soak them overnight. We have to think ahead. You soak them overnight in warm water with a tablespoon of something acidic. Remember, moisture, warmth, slight acidity, and time. That's what you want to break down the anti-nutrients in the oats. And oats have plenty of them too. And you soak that in warm water overnight. Next morning, you bring some water to a boil. That's when you add your salt. You always want to cook these soaked oats. And I know people are eating muesli and stuff, these raw oats. That's the recipe for digestive problems. So you cook the oats until they're soft. You might want to cover and let them sit for a few minutes. There's our delicious oatmeal. You might want to put something crunchy on it, like nuts, maybe. Anybody here like sweet things? Everybody likes sweet things. We're not telling you not to eat sweet things. Just be careful about it. Be moderate. Use natural sweeteners. I like to put maple sugar on my oatmeal. But I also always put an animal fat, butter or cream. Okay? Why? You've gone through the soaking process, you've liberated all the minerals. You can't use any of those minerals without the vitamin A, okay? Also, putting the fat on the oatmeal gets you off that blood sugar roller coaster. It slows down the release of sugar into the bloodstream. So I like to put, I usually put about 4 tablespoons of butter on my oatmeal. Wow. But you can put more on if you want to. That's what oatmeal's for, right? A vehicle for butter. That's what your vegetables are for. They're a vehicle for butter. We say get to know sourdough. This is kind of bread you want to eat. There was a wonderful study in Italy where they found that people diagnosed with celiac disease could eat sourdough bread without any problem. Now it should be organic. Now this is the one country in the world that allows the farmers to spray Roundup on the oats just before they're harvested, on the wheat just before it's harvested as a desiccant. And so you're getting the full blast of glyphosate, which is the ingredient in Roundup. Very harmful, very harmful. So sourdough bread should be organic sourdough, and that's how you eat your bread. You want to see teeth marks in the butter. Soy foods, we've been leading the charge against soy foods. They are very toxic. Lots of phytic acid, enzyme inhibitors. They have isoflavones in them. These are the estrogen compounds that not only cause endocrine disruption, but they block thyroid function. If you're eating a lot of soy, you'll get a thyroid problem. Very irritating to the gut. They cause kidney stones. And very high in manganese, which can cause brain damage in infants. It is truly a toxic food, and the only way you can get rid of these things is for a very long, slow fermentation, which does not get rid of the isoflavones, the estrogens. So we're talking about all these horrible modern soy foods. The traditional foods were consumed in very small amounts and were fermented. I can't stress enough, soy foods are imitation foods, You could not make these foods in your kitchen. They require a horrendous amount of processing. And the average consumption of soy in Asian diets is very low, not more than 2 tablespoons a day. And in animal studies, soy has caused reproductive problems in many species of animals, but our government insists it doesn't cause reproductive problems in humans. So which will it be, soy milk or real milk? Okay. And in the soy milk, you've got your synthetic vitamin D, emulsifiers, refined sweeteners, and a very toxic dose of phytoestrogens. And the baby on soy infant formula receives a dose of estrogens 10 times greater as a function of body weight than the level found in Asian diets. A baby on soy formula has 13,000 to 22,000 times more estrogens in its bloodstream than a baby on milk-based formula. And those estrogens have their effects even on babies. We have some good resources on soy, including our little flyer. You might keep a couple of those in your purse. You see somebody buying soy milk or something, just hand them the flyer. Good non-confrontational way.